CEO of Astraeus Ocean Systems. We're an ocean observing startup looking to make ocean observing services available to everyone. The funny thing about being on the stage, though, is my background is in space. And the last job I had before founding a startup was actually at a company, a private research foundation, looking to answer that question right there. Is life exist anywhere else other than Earth? I've spent my career since my PhD in Canada exploring the fringe of the solar system and developing technologies to help future explorers explore better than I ever could. If you've ever seen the color of Pluto, I'm probably responsible for it. I built hardware with my own hands that has flown to space and back successfully. I directed the largest ever program on the Hubble Space Telescope dedicated to understanding the origin of our solar system and our place within it. So I'm here talking about an ocean startup. In 2021, I came face to face with the impacts of climate change. I'm from Bellingham, Washington, a cool and cloudy town in the Pacific Northwest. But in 2021, we were hit by a record-shattering heat wave. Wildfires burned through our timber rainforests. Entire salmon runs cooked alive in our rivers. And I had this moment where I looked at it and thought, I need to be addressing the climate crisis, and if there's some way that I can use the skills and experience I've developed exploring the solar system to address the climate crisis, I have to be doing it. So the ocean, we've heard it today, the ocean has the most promising and scalable solutions to the climate crisis. Its challenges feel familiar too. It's a remote and harsh environment just like space is. So I dove in, I started talking to companies working on climate solutions like capturing carbon with kelp, powering homes with wind and wave energy, or feeding the planet with sustainable proteins. But I kept hearing the same thing. We just don't know what to do. I kept hearing just how we fundamentally don't understand how ocean systems respond to our interactions with them, and will respond to these solutions as we build them at scale. So these companies are daring-minded things that see the Jade Dells of the ocean, but they lack that critical data they need to make informed decisions. We need ocean innovation now more than ever, but really, absent new sources of information at sea, we're kind of stuck with this choice where we either have to pump the brakes on innovation, or wait for the data to catch up, or rush ahead and deploy systems at scale that could cause enormous environmental damage or waste resources and time. So as I dug into this and really tried to understand what the limitations of our current ocean observing systems are, like this data buoy that's meant to be deployed from a ship, I came to understand that this ocean observing system really is pretty deeply broken. These systems quite often are deploying outdated technologies. They're unreliable, they're expensive, and they're deployed really unevenly across the Earth. So we really need a third option. We need some kind of way to get around this choice make a future, a sustainable future at sea. We need to radically scale our ocean observing capacities so we can make those informed decisions as we scale these innovative technologies at sea. Only then are we really in a space where we can responsibly dare mighty things at sea. And that's what we're aiming to do at Astraeus. So Astraeus Ocean Systems is pioneering a rapidly scalable and cost-effective ocean observing system that's available to everyone. It consists of three parts. The first and the most obvious is the Astraeus fleet. We're developing a fleet of globally distributed autonomous vessels that can be called upon 24/7 from anywhere in the world. But no humans will be interacting directly with those vessels. Our tasking engine will be doing that job. It's our AI optimization engine that controls fleet actions and ensures that the fleet is being used as efficiently as possible and guaranteeing reliable and predictable data delivery for all of our customers. The third element is Fleet Command, which is our intuitive online platform, which really improves accessibility to these advanced ocean observing services. You simply log in and submit tasks, and the tasking optimizer takes it from there to determine which autonomous vessels will execute the mission for you, gives you instant cost quoting and cost transparency, and ensures that anyone can access the kinds of ocean observing capabilities they need. If you like, I really hate car infrastructure, but you can think about us as the Uber for ocean intelligence. When you don't need to own a car in every city you travel to. You just, when you get there, you pull your phone out of your pocket, you can summon a phone from the local fleet with an app. That car might have helped a dozen people before it got to you, and it might help a dozen people after, but it got you where you needed to go when you needed to be there. In our case, our ocean observing system will drive efficiency by effectively sharing ocean observing resources across many users. It also increases accessibility by simplifying access to complex fleet logistics. We basically made fleet operations completely invisible to the end user. So in preparation for pilot projects in coastal regions, particularly in the Pacific Northwest, we built our 4-meter Mark III littoral ASC for these pilot projects. We carry about 150 pounds of payload. We're working on a variety of pilot projects that I'll describe later. We're also developing our future, what we call the Keystone ASC. This is really our core open ocean capable ASC that's meant to be the core workhorse of our Astraeus fleet. With its capabilities and the fleet that we were targeting, we're initially targeting a 7-day global response time. So if you submit an ASAP mission request, we can have one of our vessels anywhere in the global ocean in under 7 days. Our ultimate goal is to provide that same service with less than a 1-day response time. So if there's an oil spill, if there's some event that you need to respond to at sea anywhere in the world, you can call upon our Seaworthy Ocean and we'll get one of our research vessels there in under a day. But, and I want to stress this, we're not another ocean drone company. Sail Drone and other companies like that are building amazing vessels, but they're not our direct competitors, as much like Toyota is a competitor to Uber. Our customers, the ones we want to work with, are those that don't need boats. They need data. They need that data now. So with that in mind, is sort of what our competition looks like, the ocean data as a service sector. There's really only a handful of companies working in this space right now. So far, X-Ocean and TerraDepth are 3 great examples. Astraeus is combining the global accessibility and global coverage of fixed and drift buoy networks like SOFAR's network with the advanced capabilities and the responsiveness of autonomous vessels like those operated by X-Ocean. One of the things that's kind of funny about this is the ocean enterprise space, which is kind of the broader spectrum that we live in. Market research is really lacking in this. It's really poorly understood who the users are and who the suppliers are of ocean data services. But one thing is really well understood about this space, and that is that most companies working in this space are working between 10 and 15 industry verticals. This is basically because the same data is required across many different maritime industries. And fundamentally, it's just because an unpredictable ocean is a dangerous ocean, and there is no use of the ocean that is not co-use of the ocean. So that being said, there is a massive market opportunity. We know this much. Across all of these verticals, shipping, wind, sustainable fisheries, many others, they stand to lose tens of billions of dollars a year if they do not have access to adequate, responsive environmental information and siting information for offshore wind, route planning for green shipping, and others. And these are the services that are being provided. At the same time, we've become aware of a huge number of much smaller stakeholders in the ocean space whose needs are completely unmet by the status quo, but whose resources can be effectively pooled by a service model like Astraeus' delivering those services to even the smallest ocean stakeholder. There's also an impact opportunity. Right now, because of the core IP that we developed around our capacity engine, we have the ability to simulate mission needs for really ambitious calls for action. So we've simulated what it would take for us to ensure that there is no tropical cyclone, no hurricane, no typhoon ever in history going forward that we do not have ships in the water delivering advanced forecasting measurements. We've actually simulated what it would take to assign one or more of our vessels to protect every single living or planet right well 24/7 from ship strikes. We can do that. It's an order of magnitude cheaper than what we're currently doing. We've also looked at much simpler tasks like ensuring that all critical seagrass habitat across the use is mapped regularly and exploring things like locating derelict fishing gear across regions where we're doing shellfishing. So recognizing that there is no ocean use that is not co-use, we're going to market with trusted facilitators of ocean co-use. We're working with regional clusters of maritime industry, including maritime industry clusters, marine trade associations, and marine exchanges, to act as hubs to connect us to many different industries at the same time, where we can validate our thesis that basically we can share resources effectively across users in many different industries. Now, this might sound really ambitious, but I'll tell you why we're confident we can do it. We have the playbook, we have the team, we have the technology to make this happen. My team was there when, in a parallel industry, we transformed from a very siloed, very limited, very expensive observing modality to one that is vastly democratized. This is Earth observing from low Earth orbit. My team was there when innovative commercial space companies like Planet Labs and others demonstrated these innovative business models could radically democratize access to real-time data and have driven from a handful of data users up to tens of thousands of annual users of those data services. We're a team of scientists, engineers, and entrepreneurs that have deep experience in commercial space, robotics, and maritime exploration. And with that, with the fact that we have this playbook, we understand how to transition a massive industry from one model to another. We have this team. What we're looking for now are partners. We need pilot partners. We're looking for these regional projects that can demonstrate and build regional fleets to service many users in limited areas as we grow out toward a global service over the next 5 years. So please join us in transforming ocean observing into a much more radically democratic, radically accessible future. Thank you.